All right, hey guys. We're gonna take a look at reviewing our shading skills, our value scales, but we're going to look at Stonehenge. We learn about a lot of cultures throughout school all across the world. I haven't met any elementary classes that have tackled Stonehenge, so it's something new. Stonehenge is obviously, you can see I'm running out of printer ink. Stonehenge is a group of stones that are stacked up in this really curious formation over in England. It's dated to about 5,000 years ago, if not older. And the crazy thing about Stonehenge is these stones weigh several thousand pounds each. They are over 13 feet tall, and as far as we know, they didn't have any machines or tools that we know of that were capable of helping them build this. So it's one of the great mysteries of the planet. Nobody really knows what it's for. Nobody knows who for sure who built it. There's theories that aliens helped them. There's theories that it had something to do with religious practices. No one's really sure. They're arranged in a certain way, and it's really cool. It's out in a big field. There's nothing else really around, and these stones came from miles and miles away. So how they got them here, no one's really sure either. They're arranged in a big old circle, which is really cool. And then they have circles inside them with a centerpiece. It's this huge complex. It's one of the places I hope to get to see, but you can see there's some stones that are standing by themselves, and there's some that have stones laid across the top. So, I mean, if they're going up 13 feet in the air, how did they get this several thousand pound rock up in the air to lay over top? The whole thing is just fascinating. But we're going to review our shading skills with this, our value skills. You can use whatever you have. On this example, I used two different tools that you might have at home. I used a pen and just a pencil that I got from the dollar store. This is actually one of my favorite tools to use to shade. A lot of teachers say, or a lot of artists in general say, that you need fancy tools for this. You really don't. I bought a pack of these at the dollar store. I think I got like 16 for like $5 or something. So like it's not that big a deal. Most of you don't have tools at home. The paper I'm using is just a notepad paper. You could use the back of an envelope. You could use a piece of junk mail. Whatever you happen to have laying around is perfectly fine. On the document of instructions, I will toss this picture on that's a lot better quality so you can actually take a look at it. If you have a phone or a computer, you could look up your own. That's how you spell it there. The first thing I want you to do when we make a landscape like this or any picture outside, the first thing you should do is draw your horizon line. Your horizon line is simply where the sky touches the ground. Then what I would like you to do is go through and just lay in some stones. Be as specific as possible. This is the easy part. This is the most detailed part, the most accurate you have to do. And because we're going to be creating what's called a silhouette, we're not worried about all these details inside of the stones. Now, you don't have to do them all. You could pick and choose. And if you have your own device, you could look up any, and there's any number of pictures. I believe it's even on Google Earth where you could zoom in and take a whole look around the entire thing. Let's review our vocab about asymmetry, which means there's no symmetry. You can see that the basic structure is all the same, but things are not exactly the same shape. They're not perfect. So you just create a shape, nothing too crazy. Then I would like you to toss in a circle up at the top. Okay, right up here. The ground could be any, it could be flat like this, or it could be any shape you want. The circle is going to be either our sun or our moon. Nothing too complicated. Now, we are going to start shading. If you use a pen, you are going to have to make more passes at the dark. What I would like you to do is I would like you to make the objects and the ground as black as possible. As you can see with the pen, it's not as easy as it is with, let me find one, that one's drying out. It's not as easy as it is with pencil to fill in. It is going to take some more time, but it is possible. I'm going to jump back over here to this finished one. I did this with pen on this side and with pencil on this side to show you that you can do both. The bottom and the objects are really easy. All you're going to do is color those as black and as solid as you could get them. Now, sorry, I've got some glare there for you. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you over here how to create your value scale, and you follow the same process whether you do it with pen or with pencil. Pen's going to be a little messier, a little more crosshatchy, which is fine because you can develop that into a style, and there's some styles out there that involve ink work like this that is not perfectly blended, perfectly shaded, and it looks really cool. So maybe you're strong at that, I don't know. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to finish this out, because after you color these as dark as you can, you're going to have to make several passes at that, and what that means is you're going to go over it a couple times. Now, the rest is just a simple value scale. We've seen value scales that look like a row of boxes, and you put your darkest color at one end, your lightest color at the other, and then you get lighter as you go. Just filled in a little bit neater. We've seen that. Most of us are used to that. That's all this is. This is just going in a circle. So to finish this out, to show you how to do that part, what I did was I went through and I did my lightest shade there first, and then what I like to do is on the lightest one, because the lightest ones are the hardest shades to get, I like to give it a little smudge, and it helps fill in the empty spots a little easier. But then what you're going to do is you're going to come in and you're going to take your pencil and you are going to fill in and layer the shades on top of each other. Now, something to watch out for, because it is very easy to get dark, it is very hard. Where you're going to have trouble is the light shades towards the light source. Our light source is our sun or our moon. It's very easy to cover those up and make those light shades dark while we shade, and we don't want to do that. So you want to apply more pressure back here at the end of our value scale where things get darker. Now, shading is in school, in elementary school, where we are right now, is not about creating the most realistic picture or making you the absolute best artist. What it is about is learning to control your body. Shading is about learning to control how much pressure you push out with your hand, where you want to do it, and be able to press easy when you want to, hard when you want to, and everything in between. So the dark colors, the dark shades, happen from harder pressure. Now, when you do a value scale in a circle like this, you luck out because after you do the first one, you have something to compare it to. So you know where you have to start shading lighter and pressing easier, and all you do is you just work your way towards the center. Eventually, you fizzle out, meaning you just stop working. Because like I said, it is very easy to cover those light tones, those light values, with something too dark. You could take your finger and smooth the transition by smudging it. If it is not good the first time around, like you're not happy with it, you can always come back in like I am here and lighten it up. Now over here, I can tell I went a lot darker than I did here. So I'm going to have to be very careful, and I'm probably going to have to adjust what I have down here at the bottom to match what I did there, because it's easier to match a dark color than it is to lighten up a dark color. Most of you have had trouble at some point or another where your eraser doesn't really erase something that's really, really dark. And what that is it's picking up so much of this graphite that's on the page that there's nowhere left to erase it. It just clogged that eraser. So what you're going to do is just work your value scales, adjust your pressure Be careful not to get too heavy up here by the sun or the moon, whichever you feel like making it. You can do a little smudge here and there. Be careful if you're using a pencil to not smudge the dark into the value scale. Don't make the value scale so dark that your Stonehenge disappears. Okay. We want that to still stick forward, but we want the sky to be just a little bit lighter. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to go all the way around. This will take time. Keep your light tones up in here by the sun or the moon. This is the hard part. These dark parts around the edge, that is the easy part, guys. That is not hard to do. Your trouble is going to be right here in the middle. And yes, your hands are going to get messy. If you want to make this a moon and you don't have a device that you can look up a picture of the moon, you can look out the window at night and see what the surface of the moon looks like and add that little bit of shading in there. If it's the sun, you just leave it white and make sure that your brightest values are right around there. And then go ahead and finish your page and see how it looks. You can do this with anything. You could look up these ancient structures and you could draw any one of them and do the value scale and the shading with any structure that you feel like. I just find Stonehenge incredibly interesting because we don't know a whole heck of a lot about it. All right, so practice your value scale, adjust your pressure. You want to go for a dark, a light, and then a tone in the middle. So take your time. If you mess up, no big deal. Adjust your pressure. Dark colors are hard pressure. Light pressures are easy pressures. Think of like touching a baby or holding an egg or something. You don't want to break it, so it's got to be super easy. But the dark colors, you can press a lot harder. Careful you don't rip your paper, though. All right, enjoy yourself.